something majorly exciting is happening today. You might notice I'm in a hotel room in London, ahead of the Orlando Magic versus the Memphis Grizzlies at the O2 Arena. I've been invited down by Amazon Prime. So excited, getting the full VIP treatment, which I'm not sure what I've done to deserve it. I think I'm generally a hard-working and good person and know a lot about basketball, but I just feel so lucky to have this opportunity today to go to this game and to experience it with the VIP treatment. So I thought I'd take you lot along for the ride with me. So thanks for all the support. This is the reason I can get to do cool things like this, and yeah, let's go check it out then. Officially inside the O2 Arena, lucky enough to have been invited down for a VIP experience by Amazon Prime today. So we're about to speak to Candace Parker, Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash ahead of the game. So let's flip over to those guys and hear their thoughts on the NBA being in Europe. So you're right to record me while I ask, and then I'll record you when I ask you the questions.
Oh, okay.
Well. Is that right?
All right, I'm a cameraman too.
Get a bit meta with them. I'm putting you to work here.
Okay.
So recording now. So Dirk, to start off with, amazing to see the NBA in Europe representing the highest level of basketball. I want to ask you about Detlef Schrempf, because he must have been, so huge in your career in terms of showing you that pathway from Europe to the NBA.
Yeah, he was definitely a trailblazer for us in Germany. He had an incredible career. He was an all-star. He was best six man. Had an incredible career. So he was one of the Europeans there in the 90s, kind of opened stuff up for us, with Kukoc and Divac and Sabonis. They were great players before my time, and then obviously I came, and Pau Gasol, Tony Parker. If we help push the door open even more, that's an honor. And now we have all these guys, with Giannis and Luka and obviously Jokic. So we have some of the best players in the world. So I think the growth of European basketball has been incredible to watch, and I'm proud to be a small part of that, and it's been fun.
And how much does that fill you with pride? Because that is your legacy that you've left now, as you've got guys like Franz and Mo able to come over to Europe to play at the Uber Arena in Berlin, and they can say that Dirk Nowitzki was the reason that they are in the NBA because they saw that pathway like you saw with Detlef.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it goes in generations, and so I was happy to watch Detlef and saw if he can make it, maybe I have a chance. And maybe it was the same way with the Wagner brothers for me. And so if I inspired them or motivated them along the way to play and get better or think they can make it, then I'm super excited about that. And I'm happy about where German basketball is now. Obviously we're reigning world champ and European champ. So we've had an incredible run. So I'm happy how German basketball is looking.
Yeah, I feel like we should get a shout out to Dennis Schroeder in there as well for that.
Dennis, for sure.
So Candace, I want to ask about representation, because the NBA is over in Europe representing basketball at the highest level. How important is representation to you in the early stage of your career, showing that you could get to the highest level?
Well, I think representation is so important. I grew up in the Chicagoland during the 90s, so I watched MJ and the Bulls hang so many championship banners, and I definitely felt amazing when the WNBA started, being able to see in 97 other women play the game like me. So I understand internationally the hunger for basketball to come over here, and I think it's going to inspire the next generation.
And who would you like to give your flowers to for showing there was a pathway from where you were to the highest level?
Well, first and foremost, I think just in terms of the Houston Comets in general in the WNBA, Raising the Roof with Cynthia Cooper and Tina Thompson, those were my two role models. And then, of course, the Chicago Bulls. I think the 92 Dream Team coming over here inspired a lot of international players. I know Dirk talks about that a lot, about being able to see those guys up close in the Olympics in Barcelona. It really set the tone.
Amazing. Thanks very much, Candace. Appreciate it. So, Steve, it's great to see the NBA in Europe sort of representing the highest level of basketball on these shores, and I think it's really important as well bringing the European superstars back to these shores, because you spoke so eloquently recently about European basketball and the structure around that, but kids still need to see that pathway in terms of how do I make it from being in Europe to the NBA.
Yeah, it's great that we can have games in Europe, continue to spread what the NBA is all about, to show the level and the great players that we have, to bring them to other communities around the world, not just stay in the U.S. or Canada all the time. So it's exciting. I think it's great to be in London, a city that's not traditionally a basketball city or country, to continue to grow the game here. I mean, we went to Berlin and we had 3 Germans, 2 brothers from Berlin on the Orlando Magic, so it was a special night for Berlin and for the NBA. But in London, we got a lot of growth to do. So we got to continue to expose people to the game, get them excited about basketball, get them to pick a favorite player and a favorite team. And coming over here, I think, is really important in doing so.
I have to be honest, I think I kind of underestimated how many Memphis Grizzlies fans would be in the arena, the good reception that Ja Morant would get. It was good to see him back playing, and interesting to see his quotes after the game really as well about his loyalty to the Memphis Grizzlies organisation. You know, they mentioned the tattoo on his back and all those kinds of things. So it was good to see him back on the court. I didn't actually catch any of his highlights in the first half. It's always funny, I think, when you're vlogging at NBA games and trying to catch moments in I guess, any sports sort of setting really, because I don't know about anyone else who's ever filmed any of these things, but I never managed to catch the moments that I want to catch. So the narrative basically of the first half was that everything that Memphis took went down, every shot they hit, and it felt like Orlando couldn't hit a barn door. And then actually you'll see in the clips, maybe less so in that first one there, but you'll definitely see it in the later clips to come, such as this one that basically Orlando look like they're protecting the paint well. You see that big block by Desmond Bain on Ja Morant. It looks like it's sort of Orlando having their way, but that really wasn't the tale of the first half. It felt very much like Memphis were having their way with Orlando instead. And I was kind of disappointed in that, I have to be honest. I'd come in being a bit of an Orlando Magic fan because we'd had broadcaster Dante Marcatelli on the Crossover the Pong podcast with myself and Drew Lasker, and I think having Dante on and sort of finding that, I guess, affinity really towards Orlando Magic because Dante had talked me into it. It meant that I came into supporting Orlando, and I guess that's the easy thing anyway because the Clippers are the Western Conference, Memphis are the Western Conference, so you always want to sort of support the team who is furthest away from you really. But yeah, very disappointing first half in particular from the Orlando Magic, and then we'll find out more from me what I thought at half time. It's half time in the game between the Orlando Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies. Disappointing half from Orlando, who I feel like I'm kind of rooting for after getting Dante on the podcast. Not able to make many shots, not able to make many threes. Slightly better at the end of the second quarter there. Memphis making everything during the first quarter. It's kind of evened itself out a little bit shooting numbers wise. We'll see what the second half holds. It's been an incredible experience so far. I can't wait to see what happens in the game. Yeah, so you're going to see a bit of the, I believe they're called the bar shots, dunkers, just a little bit of that here, more of the sort of half-time or in between quarter shows. I actually went to the US women's national basketball team at the O2 Arena and had the same act on there, but just incredible, really. I want to echo, you know, especially the questions I asked to Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash and Candace Parker, which I was so grateful to get to speak to those three. Like, what an incredible experience for me as a budding NBA journalist. But I think, like, within this, it was really like purpose fulfilling for me because I kind of, you know, a lot of the people that I got to speak to on the night, some of the cool people that I got to meet, I was kind of telling them that the way I see my niche as a UK basketball pundit really, and what I think I can bring to the UK NBA space is that I think part of the issue is so far, and I mentioned this on my most recent Sportsy as well when I talked about the NFL, is that it can be very hard to get into American sports, I think, in general, because they're so awash with stats and tactics and technicalities and things like that. The trouble is, once you build up your knowledge so quickly, if you are someone who's a creator in the space, it can be kind of hard then for people at entry level to understand your content. And I guess I want to be a vibes person. You'll see a bit of Sweet Caroline going on there. That's always a way for people to get into the spirit of a sports event in the UK. But I guess where I want to be, because I've got experience with this through the Anfield Wrap, and one of the main bits of feedback we would always get with the Anfield Wrap was that we made it easier for people who didn't necessarily understand football to understand and to find their passion and to find that love for Liverpool Football Club, because they almost fed off our energy and our love for it. And that's what I kind of hope that I can bring longer term to the basketball space. I'm still very new to this. As I mentioned there, even in the sort of issues in vlogging and the issues that I find in vlogging and trying to capture bits of the game, and really the game is just background to me being able to talk like this. Is almost a thing for you to feast your eyes on while you listen to another podcast platform with me. But what I want to bring to the UK basketball, the UK NBA space, is making it easier for people at the entry level to get into it, because I was like those people once 12, 11 years ago when I first started supporting the Clippers and first started rediscovering the love for basketball that I had when I was a child, and sort of grew up watching Allen Iverson and guys like that. Had to almost relearn the sport all over again, because those guys that I'd grown up watching had retired, long retired, and suddenly my knowledge wasn't there. So I've gone through that experience very recently in terms of learning my way up to be this passionate, picking a team, all these different kinds of things that I guess you do when you're new to a sport. And for so many of us who've, I guess mostly in the UK, loved football since we were children, we don't necessarily remember that transition from being a kid and loving football so much to being an adult and starting to think more critically about the game. So incredible to see the NBA coming over to the UK to be that sort of touch point for kids who maybe are playing basketball in the UK at the moment. There aren't enough UK born athletes in the NBA, so I hope that the NBA coming back to the UK and doing this shows people there is that path to get there, because you've seen it, so many European superstars in the NBA at the moment. So an incredible experience. Find out more from me here. So as you can kind of see behind me, the arena's starting to empty now. Blowout win for the Memphis Grizzlies in the end. Disappointed in the defensive effort by the Orlando Magic, but I guess a big week for them, big week for Franz and Mo in particular, with the game in Germany. So maybe just some tired legs out there, but an incredible experience for me. Got to speak to two NBA legends, one WNBA legend, and experience all this in London. Unbelievable. Thanks for joining along with me. Thanks so much to Amazon Prime for having me as well, and that's me signing out.